Well, I think we're going to stop talking about this idea of people are returning to the office or 2 to 3 days a week, blah, blah, blah. We already know that. I think the discussion is going to be more around the fact that almost every meeting that we're going to have is going to have some people in the office somewhere, and some are going to be at home or remote. And the discussion is going to turn to how do we solve the problem and make the experience better for everyone. I don't think we're going back to where we were post-pandemic. I think what we see around the world is that most people have gotten used to the idea of flexibility, and there are very few people that want to go back to an office 5 days a week. Even more than that, our hiring patterns for most companies around the world have now spread out. So how do you return to the office when you don't live near an office anymore? So the reality is there's going to be people everywhere, and I think the challenge for all of us is to kind of get over it and move on and talk about how are we going to make sure that people are very productive when they're all spread out and they're not all at home and they're not all in an office. So the biggest thing we're seeing is that if you agree with the idea that people will be remote and in the office, what happens is the remote user's experience looking deep into a conference room, if we're honest, it's not that great. Sometimes they can't see that well, and they can't hear people, and then someone starts sharing content, and then everybody goes from being a human to ant size. So part of what we're doing is we're really looking to fix this problem. I think the industry is calling it equitable meetings, so the remote participant can feel in an equitable place with people in the office. And part of what we're doing, you'll see we have this idea of a multi-camera AI experience. Very similar to a sporting event where you're watching at home. There's not one godlike camera following the action. There's lots of cameras and a smart director. That's essentially what we're doing, and we're bringing that into the workplace in the conference room. Well, we tried to hire James Cameron to do our directing, but he wasn't available. So, we have to rely on smart software and technology. And I think what we're trying to use as a substitute is what would be the ideal experience of moving the camera around, not just back and forth wherever speaking, but kind of showing you where the action's at. Because if you were sitting in the room as a human, you know where to look. So we're trying to basically emulate that and teach the machine how to look as if a human. And I think we're well along the way. We'll get better over the year, but I think that's what people want. They want to see the action, not a head flying back and forth like a tennis match. I mean, of course, we have to acknowledge that the global environment is challenging. Wars, pandemics, inflation, recessions, etc. But I would say I'm very excited about where Logitech is, because we've moved from being kind of nice to have pre-pandemic to really at the center of, you call it hybrid work, but it's really just work. And I would argue what we're doing is really, really important for us to solve for the world. And I think given that the world needs what we're doing, and I couldn't be more excited about what we're doing to basically enhance how we're working and bring it up from a level which I think most people agree is not that good to where we need to be, which is excellent. And we have a long way to go, but I think we're at the center of the action there. Well, that's a great example of, when people talk about AI, it's not only chatbots, it's basically teaching our AI to figure out how do you get your barking dog and birds and leaf blowers and making sure all of that noise is out. I mean, nobody wants to have a meeting with that stuff in there, and we're not there yet as an industry, but we're making great progress there. I think in the next year or two, it'll be way, way better than it's been, and people will stop talking about these silly things. Yeah, so for our group, the VC group in Logitech, we are making a big investment in Poland. We're finding that they're some of the best engineers in the world. People talk about outsourcing or lower costs. It's not why we're in Poland. We're in Poland because Poland is world-class. Amazing engineers, especially in where the world is going in AI, audio and video. And we're making a big investment in Poland, and I'm excited to keep investing and work with our Polish team. They're doing an amazing job.